on April 2nd, President Trump is promising a much larger global tariff regime, including bringing back in the threatened 25% across the board tariffs on Canada. And you've talked about the need for retaliatory tariffs at a dollar-for-dollar level. One assumes the punch coming is going to be much greater.
Yeah.
How much more are you prepared? How much more are you prepared to go in terms of the monetary hit back, and how much do you think Canada can absorb? Can we?
This is an important question. It's a very important question. There is a limit, given the relative size of our economies, the extent to which we should match U.S. tariffs. Right now, what the government has proposed, and with the 150 billion odd identified products, are products that have, as I said earlier, maximum impact in the United States and limited, but not zero. It's limited impact in Canada that we can affect. And my government's commitment, is that we will use all of the revenues from those tariffs to support Canadian workers that are affected by the U.S. trade actions. Pierre Poilievre's commitment, as his commitment is anytime anything changes, is he's going to use it to cut taxes. So if you aren't paying any taxes because you don't have a job, you're out of luck. Okay, we're going to go help those who are affected by it, as we should, as Canadians want us to, in my view. Now, so just to summarize on your question, there are limits. Now we'll see what happens April 2nd. We'll see what happens after that. We are not going to take an action that we think is not ultimately going to influence the United States, and certainly not one that is outright harmful to Canada, given the overall approach. So this will be very deliberate, and there is a limit, full stop. There is a limit to matching these tariffs dollar for dollar, given the fact that our economy is a tenth the size of the United States.
Nobody's come out forcefully and said those comments about the 51st state are just not on. Do you think that our traditional allies are not sticking their necks out because they're concerned that if they say something that'll anger President Trump, that they'll be next?
I think I would take seriously what the Prime Minister of the United Kingdom said today. Look, I don't think one needs to respond to every comment about another country. Look, we can stand up for ourselves. It's Canada strong. We can stand up for ourselves. We've called out those comments. They're disrespectful. They're not helpful. And they need to stop before, and they will have to stop before we sit down and have a conversation about our broader partnership with the United States. But we're Canada. We don't need other people to come to our aid. This trade uncertainty, the actual tariffs, but then also the uncertainty around what other trade actions could be taken by the world's largest economy, are having an impact. They're having an impact on the United States itself. That impact on the United States will continue to grow. The impact of weakening U.S. economy has an impact on everyone else. But of course it has a direct impact as well on the affected countries. It's not welcome. What we see is a number of measures that we can take ourselves. We can't control the trade policy of the United States. We don't pretend to control policies of other countries. What we can control is our own domestic economic policy. There's many opportunities in Canada. It's a very strong economy, but it could be much stronger. We could have one Canadian economy instead of 13. We can build the millions of houses that Canadians need. We can diversify our trading relationships. We can build new trading corridors, and we can fully realize what Canada is, which is an energy superpower in both clean and conventional energy, and that's exactly what we're going to do. We are going to get stronger, while those who take trade actions get weaker. For example, Portugal the government of Portugal is taking steps to diversify their supply. What's also in the public domain is a very substantial effort in Europe to so-called rearm Europe, which is a significant consolidation and increase in the amount of defense spending in Europe. Now, that is of interest to us as Canada because as a potential alternative supplier. It creates the potential to create supply chains that mean that Canadian companies are participating in the development of these defense systems. And we are actively exploring, and this, full disclosure, this is one of the discussions that I had both in Paris and in the UK, was the potential participation. Now, the UK is not formally in that, but we can see, particularly given our security posture in Europe, given potential steps in Ukraine, given our own security needs, that diversification of our suppliers in a way that ensures that as much as possible of that production resides in Canada and benefits Canadians in multiple ways is a prudent thing to do. That's what I can tell you.